Ladies and gentlemen, it's match day.
If you guys own any cards in your teams that are worth over 10k, I highly recommend that you guys watch this video because there is a good chance that your teams will lose a ton of value in the month of December. If you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure you guys drop a thumbs up on it. And if you guys are enjoying the daily FIFA 22 market videos, make sure to subscribe so you never miss out on another video from me. So guys, yeah, I'm serious. December tends to be a time where the market does really bad in the meta department. And historically, it always starts with this promo right here, Team of the Group Stage. Now, if you guys are not new to the channel, you've been here for a couple videos, you guys have known I've kind of cautioned buying metas into this promo just because what tends to happen is this is the beginning of the end for a lot of really gold cards and all that. So today I want to go over the best times to actually buy your team because you guys are going to be quite surprised. The best time to buy your team is not for a long time, honestly. You're going to see a lot of cards start to lose even more value, and people like myself who, you know, unfortunately I'm not going to be selling my team, I'm going to lose a lot of coins on my squad. Now obviously we've seen the market come down quite a bit in the last month or so, but we're not done just yet. Just today on Friday we saw the beginning of the end for some of the icons, and this is a time where you're going to see a lot of base icons, a lot of low value icons lose a ton of value. I mean, just now we're starting to see our first icons sit under 100k on the Xbox market, and this is something that we're going to continue to see happen as we get closer and closer, of course, to prime icons dropping this month, icon swaps coming out later this month as well as just FUT Freeze. We have Team of the Group Stage now, and we might potentially get some kind of Christmas special, if not some kind of New Year's promo, because obviously those 2 days also fall on Fridays. So if we do take a look at base icons here, you guys are going to see on Xbox there are 6 now that sit under 100k, and this is really early for icons to be sitting at this price already. We have never seen icons sit at 86k in the month of December. So that's something that really kind of interests me heading in, because we're already seeing the market really not do too well, I guess. And I think it can only get worse. So if we go ahead and take a look at some players from FIFA 21, we'll kind of judge on how they kind of moved. So the first cards I want to take a look at is someone like Cristiano Ronaldo's gold card. Now obviously last year the gold card was a little bit more popular than it is this year. I think more people were using Ronaldo last year, even though he didn't have the Man United links or whatever. But if we go and take a look at what happened to him in the month of December, you guys are going to see a really big decline. So we did obviously get Black Friday at this point last year, and we saw a little bit of like kind of flatness afterwards until we hit Team of the Group Stage. And on the Friday, you'll see from Thursday to Friday, he didn't really move down too much, but it was what happened later in the weekend and further on in that week where we started to see a real dip. And Ronaldo ended up going down under $1 million on Xbox, and he dropped a significant like 200-ish K on PlayStation just 2 weeks later from, you know, Team of the Group Stage coming out. And, you know, by the end of the month, he was 890k on Xbox. Now, obviously, he's much lower this year compared to last year. But I wouldn't be surprised to see this year our cards continue to decline in a horrible meta market that we're seeing. Now, if we take a look at some of the special cards for Cristiano Ronaldo, for example, this card coming out in, I believe it was December itself. It was actually a week before Black Friday. You guys are going to see that December was a really horrible month, even for just the inform card itself too. Coming down from, you know, this point on with Team of the Group Stage, going on from 2 mil all the way down to like 1.7-ish mil by the before Christmas period. So that's a huge dip on a lot of these cards. And you'll see this is kind of a common trend for a lot of cards. If we go and take a look at someone like Kylian Mbappe, you'll see the same kind of thing happened with his card as well. We saw this really significant dip in December happen to him. And this happens to just about every card, including some of the icons, including a lot of the special cards. So I am going to warn you guys to be very careful when heading into this month. But if we go and take a look at Kylian Mbappe here, you guys are going to see on the daily graph, you're going to see the same kind of thing happen in December. He just takes an absolute huge dip. And take a look what happened to his card from Team of the Group Stage on. Going from 1.1 mil on Xbox, 1.35 on PS, all the way down to 788k, 1 mil on PS. Guys, that is a nearly 300k drop on a Kylian Mbappe card within literally like 14 days, 15 days, 2 weeks. So yeah, guys, that's a significant dip for a lot of you guys that, you know, are using these cards. And especially if you're using some of these higher tier cards, you know, you lose a significant amount. It's very hard to go from the mid tier to the high tier in this game. So if you lose 300k, like, that is a lot of grinding to get back up to.
No shit.
Especially this year. I mean, of course, if you have like, you know, gold Salah, he goes down, you can go and buy gold Mane, who's also kind of come down, if you know what I mean. But, you know, in this year's version, it's really, really tough to kind of move around. So I want to take a look at a few icons, obviously, because obviously those are the big cards as well. We do have primes and icon swaps coming out. On Monday, we'll probably talk all about icon swaps, what to expect and all that. But I do want to talk about these icon cards because even these cards saw a little bit of, you know, kind of a dip heading into this December period. So we go and take a look at the FIFA 21 version of Ronaldinho, his base card, and we'll take a look at his mid card after. You guys will see the same thing. In December, it wasn't as significant as our gold cards, but in December, you saw him go from 1.4 mil down to like 1.3. And yeah, that's not a huge change, I know. But 100k is 100k. That's still kind of a big dip for a card like that. And even on PS, you know, he still dipped down quite a bit as well, kind of in that period. So you guys do have to be careful. Even the mid card, a mid card was really good last year. I really enjoyed using him. The mid card did the same kind of thing, and his was actually a little bit more significant, the mid card, because we did get primes. And you'll see on a lot of these icons, the mids actually do much worse than the bases do, because the bases are going to be going out of packs when primes come out later this month. So, you know, the mids, they're still going to be in packs. They're in packs until February, so there's always going to be more supply of them on. And you guys saw a lot of panic on this card. He lost 500k on both consoles, just about 500k within a couple weeks. That is significant, and that even happened to some of our top tier cards. Let's go take a look at Ruud Gullit, for example. The base card obviously plays much different to the mid. I know the majority of you guys aren't going to be using these huge icons, but you guys do have to keep an eye on them, even if you don't want to, because obviously, you know, these cards, they play a significant role in the game, of course. So, you know, if these top tier cards are coming down, you're going to see all other cards start to kind of come down as far as the meta market goes. So we take a look at what happened mid Gullit here. I mean, look at the graphic. It just goes a straight decline, going from 6 mil on Xbox all the way on down to 4.5. So if you're a top tier player, you got to be careful with these mids, because a 1.5 mil coin drop, that is a significant amount, especially for some of those bigger players. And even in FIFA 20, you'll also see a very similar kind of trend happen as well. During the December period, you just see this kind of big dip as primes kind of come out. Now, last year, or in FIFA 20, you saw an even more significant drop, going from 5.5 mil, just a straight drop right here within like a week or two. You know, he dropped about a mil on both consoles. So you got to be careful, man. I'm telling you, some of these top tier icons, you have to be careful. But if we take a look at the base in FIFA 20, we'll take a look at the base in FIFA 21 as well. Obviously, he was included in icon swaps, I want to say, so he was already kind of on the down. But take a look, even the base card in FIFA 20, he took a big dip. I mean, dropped 300k. That's a huge drop. And even the FIFA 21 version of Ruud Gullit, you saw that this card took a pretty huge dip as well in that December period. Take a look right here. You see this kind of dip come in. He goes from 1.1 back down to like 950. So that's, again, another 200k drop just about. So that's a significant amount. You do have to be careful. Now, some of the bases actually did rise afterwards, and we'll talk about that in a different video. But in the month of December, you guys, you gotta be careful with some of these icons. Now, let's talk about some of the lower tier icons, maybe some of the ones that you guys will be using. Let's just say like Baby Lam, for example. He's a really decent card. He's like 300k on both consoles right now on FIFA 22. He's obviously a pretty decent card. He's a much lower tier card, of course. But in the month of December, in FIFA 21, you guys will see he kind of had the same thing. The base will kind of drop down. Of course, the mid will kind of drop down. So you guys just have to be careful when it comes to these cards, because you will see a dip kind of regardless. And right here, you saw like a little bit of a dip kind of coming down. Nothing actually significant on the base, but of course, you know, they went out of packs. So for some cards, maybe you'll see a little bit, but this year is much different than last year. And I'm going to tell you guys, be careful, because you are going to be seeing a lot of these cards come down. Now, again, you won't see the low tier cards come down too much, but a lot of the mid versions, you'll see come down because Prime's coming out. It just pushes all the other prices down. So you guys do have to be very careful when it comes to that. So Spice, when exactly would be a good time to maybe buy a team? Because, you know, December's a long time, guys. That's a whole month, and a whole month of not using the players you want to use kind of sucks. Now, what I would do is maybe build like a nice gold team. I mean, golds are already really low. If you want to use some of the cards, like look, my team, for example, they're already pretty low in price for a lot of these cards. If not, some of them are untradeable, like the icons are untradeable. The FUT Hero's untradeable. So it's like, for me, you know, if the golds lose a little bit of value, they lose a little bit of value, but like you won't see me dipping them, you know, putting million coin worth of cards into my team because I just know they're going to end up losing value. So for me, I think the best time to buy is going to be after FUT Freeze, so around the Christmas period, because then we kind of have a straight shot to Team of the Year where there's nothing really kind of in between. Primes will have been out, which means prices will finally be stabilized, and a lot of times you see base icons actually end up going up in price just due to the fact that they're out of packs, there's no more supply coming in. The mids, they kind of just flatten out. Metas start to kind of just flatten out. Some will start to rise a little bit depending on the chart. Of course, we'll kind of go over it. We'll have icon swaps, and again, you don't really see too much panic in the market until Team of the Year comes out. So this is something that you really kind of want to just keep an eye on, because with Team of the Group Stage and with FUT Freeze and with Prime Icons, you're getting basically 3 promos worth of just about all meta players. That will make a lot of people's teams. You'll see a lot of selling of the other versions, a lot of selling of the golds as people want to use the special cards, the colored cards, and all that. I mean, just yesterday we saw, you know, a lot of panic on some other versions of cards. As you know, we saw these Team of the Group Stage cards come in. I mean, take a look at someone like Neymar. Neymar's card really hasn't been in much demand this year. I mean, the card sits at 500k this year. You know, he sat at 500k flat on Xbox, 637 on PS. He's down a little bit. You know, he's down 10k on Xbox, he's down 20k on PS. I mean, this is just a card that's going to continue to kind of slowly decline as more and more special versions come out. Even someone like Kieran Trippier, we saw a couple good strikers come out in this promo, and you know, yesterday, you know, we saw a kind of a nice rise from the Black Friday period on from Mbappe. But he sat at $1 on Xbox. I mean, he's kind of held a flat price, but, you know, it looks like he's starting to kind of reverse down. We're seeing the PS prices come down just a little bit lower each time during the day. So, you know, I would definitely be careful with some of these gold cards, because I do think that we are getting to the point where these cards are going to become very unusable. Now, of course, there'll always be a demand for the top ones like Gold Mbappe, but you will see them start to come down in price. I wouldn't be shocked to see Gold Mbappe be 800k or something on Xbox at the end of the month of December. I wouldn't be surprised to see Ronaldo come down to like another 100k. I wouldn't be surprised to see Messi come down another 50k or something. These cards are just they're not gonna have as much demand as people think. And we're getting really good cards. The last 2 weeks, Black Friday was such a big dub. Team of the Group Stage, the team looks amazing. It looks to be like a pretty big dub so far, and just taking a look at the cards, like they interest me so much. I'm like, these cards, I would throw a lot of these cards into my team. Literally every single card could be a usable card in this game right now. So with more and more metas coming out, you're gonna just see the decline of more of these cards. Now, again, those top tier cards, you won't see too much panic until we start to get that prime icon hype in, because the primes is what will really start to move a lot of those prices. So be really careful if you have the top tier cards, guys. I'm so serious. If you guys have those top cards like R9, mid Hullet, those mid versions, get rid of them sooner rather than later, because when primes drop, those mids are coming down. Finally, I just want to quickly talk about SBC FUT, because I know I'm gonna get some kind of questions in the comments over the weekend about it. FUT is always a great month.
What did he say?
That made no sense. December is always a great month for FUT. Just because we always get a lot of SBCs, guys. We're getting a ton of promos with super meta cards. We get icon SBCs. We're gonna get, you know, Team of the Group Stage SBCs, FUT Freeze SBCs just about every day. So what you're gonna end up seeing is a lot of FUT is gonna be needed this month. And right now, FUT is a great pickup. You guys can pick up literally anything. 85 to 88, I think, is all really good pickups. We saw a big dip on a lot of these cards today. 87s are really low. You guys know I went in on a couple beforehand. They came down. I'm still going to hold. I think they'll kind of rebound. But guys, you guys are really finding your buy periods on these cards. I mean, take a look at the 83s. A lot of them came back down to discard again. This is an easy double dip on a lot of these cards. So for me, guys, I would personally look to pick up fodder. Just alone, I want to try and find a card that was good last year that we could kind of use as a fodder basis. We'll take a look at Verratti, for example. I want to say he was also 87 or 86 last year. Take a look at what happened to his card in the December period. 86 Verratti, very good links, really fun card to use in game. He actually also, I want to say, this is a FUT Freeze card. Yeah, he did also get a FUT Freeze card, so he did go out of packs for a little bit as well. But just take a look at the rise that kind of happens during the month of December on these cards. Huge. And like I said, I know he ended up getting in FUT Freeze, but just look at what happened to the card. He literally went from 20k up to 34k. And we can go and take a look at another fodder card if you guys want to. You know, we'll take a look at another high rated and a lower rated card too. Now, if we take a look at someone like Parejo, who last year was also very good fodder, you know, he's kind of not too great. He was 85 rated. And keep in mind, guys, a lot of the prices last year were very different. So cards like that were higher rated actually held a value longer than they do this year. But take a look at someone like Parejo, dude. In December, this card moved a lot. So if we take a look right here, a card that didn't get in FUT Freeze, but you'll see what happened in December. You know, he kind of dips down here in this initial team of the group stage window, starts to rise up a bit, and, you know, FUT Freeze hits or whatever. We get some kind of really good content, which I'm expecting. Goes to 15k, so 10k to 15k, that's a really nice return, 50%. I'm sure you could sell or lazy sell to a bit more. And this year, obviously, fodder seems to be a little bit more crazier. I just wouldn't be surprised to see this trend kind of continue into the month. And real quick, just before we wrap up the video, I do want to quickly just look at 83s now, because I think 83s are still a good shout heading into next year. If we take a look at Neymar, because he was obviously an 83 last year as well, you'll see a very similar trend because he was obviously an 83 last year as well. Now, I do want to take a look at just one 83 card that happened last year too. We'll take a look at Kieran Trippier, because obviously he was 83 last year. During the kind of December window, you'll see kind of a similar trend. Now, of course, you know, 83s seem to move a little bit more, but dude, these cards did just very well in December too. Even if it wasn't a significant rise, but you see, he went from 2k up to 3.5k. He went at the start of the month from like 3k up to, you know, 3.5, 4k. So these cards are really gonna move in the next like period of time. This next month, I think fodder's gonna do amazing. Even you'll see here the start of, you know, the start of team of the group stage. It goes from 2k, 3.5, 4. So like, guys, seriously, I think a lot of these cards are going to do good. I wanted to mainly talk about the metas, but I just want to throw fodder in real quick. And of course, the screen blacks out. But I wanted to just throw it in just because I know I'd get a couple questions. Of course, we're going to take a deep dive into the whole icon stuff later this next week, because I am expecting to see icon content